All right, so this is Firestarter. It's the newest Stephen King adaptation. I think there was a movie that came out beforehand, but I didn't see that. I didn't see the original one. Um, I'll say how I feel about this one in a second. It's directed by Keith Thomas. So there's this family. Zac Efron plays the father, Andy McGee, and there's the girl Charlie, played by Ryan Kiera Armstrong. And this family is a little, they're weird pretty much. I mean, they all have some kind of abilities or whatever, and that gets explained a little bit later. But the girl, Charlie, she has the power to set things on fire, right? And so it causes problems in school. She accidentally causes an explosion in the bathroom and things like that. And because of that, the authorities have kind of been notified, and they're going to do like an investigation into how she even did that explosion. So as a result of that, they have to kind of go on the run and move somewhere else. So the secret organization or whatever that made them that way doesn't potentially find them because they've been on the run this whole time. They haven't been using Wi-Fi and things like that. They don't want to be tracked. So something happens to the mom. The organization that's going after them sends another guy that's kind of like an assassin after them. It's pretty much just about staying away from that evil corporation that did the experiments to originally make the parents the way they are, and they're also the reason why the kid is like that. So this movie's not good. It's actually pretty bad. As I was watching it, I thought, okay, this is pretty much Logan, but bad. In Logan, you had the secret little experiments on those mutants, one of which is kind of Logan's daughter, kind of, and they kind of bond as they're running away. It's kind of like that, only with very little development and bad writing, bad acting for a lot of it. But we'll get back to that. Positives. I have one positive, one main positive at least, and that's Zac Efron. Zac Efron is way too good for this. I mean, in those moments, you really do feel it from his acting. He's really good at the kind of sad moments or the emotional moments. You can really see the pain, feel the pain in his face, even with him just not saying a word. And he's great. He's way, way, way too good for this. This is the second movie in a row that I've reviewed where I'm like, this script is just not good, but you really got some good actors in here. I guess, good on you for getting them. There are some good gore moments. This one moment where she set someone on fire in a car, and the dude's like half his body is just charred. And I thought that was pretty good and pretty horrifying. Like that was the one moment the audience was like, "Oh my god," because for the most part the audience didn't really give a shit either. So, but that was the one point where people were like, "Oh shit." That being said, oh my god. So the girl in this, who's like the main point of the story, right? She sets fires, and it's about her and controlling her powers and things like that. The girl in this, that actress is not very good, and they wrote this character to be just about as bland and uninteresting as possible, right? She does kind of the same face over and over again, just kind of pouting, right? The dialogue is bad. I don't know why. Like they even have that in the trailer, the liar, liar, pants on fire thing. It's like, really? And there's dialogue like that kind of throughout. It's really bad. I would say she is my main issue because I couldn't really connect with her on any real way. Like I couldn't get invested in her and things like that. But regardless of her not being that great, I could still maybe get with it if things were developed a little bit more. Like the character, the guy that's going after them, I felt like I barely knew the dude. Like I guess he can read minds, but that's about it. He doesn't really have much of a story. The main actress that's heading up the group that's going after them, don't really get to know her that well either, and she's just kind of villain. She's just kind of the person going after them, and that's it. There are kind of interesting moments with like the backstory and things like that, but I didn't really care, right? Like, I don't know. Like, this is just nothing really. I mean, I was sitting there and I was like, man, I'm really bored. There was a couple that was talking pretty much throughout the entire movie, and you would think, we're in a theater. There weren't that many people in there, but you would think like two people having a full-on conversation, you'd be like kind of annoyed and somebody would say something. The rest of the audience did not give a shit. Like I did not care at all, right? There's a point where a cat gets burned alive, and people in the theater were laughing. Like, we just did not give a fuck, like, at all. Like, by the time things actually got to the ending, I was like, well, what happens now? What happens to her? Like, what's she gonna do now? And then I thought to myself, I said, wait a minute, I don't give a shit. This movie is just, it's bad. It's barely written. It's badly written. I have to imagine. I guess maybe the original was better, the original movie, but maybe the book too. But there's really nothing to this, right? It's X-Men or Logan or whatever, but just written really badly, right? The parents have certain powers. You don't really get to see much of that, and the daughter gets like extra powers at a certain point. It's like, okay, how far are we taking this? Is she gonna start flying? I mean, I don't know. You're the first real life superhero. I rolled my eyes so fucking hard at that. It just kind of goes. Like, I could probably sum up the whole movie in just like a couple of sentences, because there's not much that really happens. Something happens. They have to run away. Um, they get picked up by some guy, and some things happen there. Eventually, they have to take out the facility at the end, and that's it. I mean, there really isn't that much going on here. I just kind of sat there, kind of wanting it to end, and it's really short, so they were merciful in that. There's parts of this movie that just didn't even make sense. Like, this girl clearly doesn't have control of her powers, but he keeps leaving her alone. They're on the run, but yet he wants to hitchhike, even though the daughter is really dangerous and there are people after them. um, it just doesn't make sense. Like, you're hiding away from these people, but and your daughter is losing control at any point, could burn down the school, but you still have her going to school. Why don't you just homeschool her? I mean, this movie, it's just not good. I'm sorry. It's not. It's not. Most of the acting is pretty bland and sometimes really bad. The dialogue's bad. There's barely really a story here. They barely really develop the characters or what's going on. And because of that, I wasn't invested. I just don't care. So this movie just it'll come and go. Nobody will remember it other than, oh yeah, that bad Stephen King adaptation that came out last year, whatever. It's not going to have much of an impact. On a on a lower level, because of how much I really liked Zac Efron and his performance, I'll still give it a rental, all right? And this is me being merciful, because this movie's not good, right? It is really, really not good. It has the feeling of just kind of being thrown out there. I want to have a good day, so whatever. Positivity. I'm putting positive vibes out there. I'll still give it a rental, but this is a bad movie. Don't even waste your time.